Yeah, we're very excited about the start of the year. This is our second year here, and what's great is the players know our expectations, and we understand the players and have gotten to know the players, and everybody's been working hard and practicing well, and these kids are together. They play with passion. They play with a certain joy every day in practice, and it really makes it fun to coach. And we're really excited about the year and opening November 6th against UC Riverside, and especially excited about coaching these two young women athletes to my left who have both represented our university on the floor and off the floor, and are just two awesome young women who have become very dear to the entire coaching staff and especially to me.
Okay, so before we ask questions, just want to introduce Darcy Couch, USC SID, so if you need. So if you need anything the rest of the day today or throughout the season, please get in touch with her. So now we'll open it up to questions to media. Please remember to identify yourself and to use the microphone when you are ready to ask a question.
Mark, Tammy Blackburn. Is it open? Mark, Tammy Blackburn, Pac-12. Hello, friends. Can you talk about the strength of your backcourt? I think a lot of people are thinking that you guys might have one of the best backcourts in the league. The quickness, the pace, the pressure that you guys are going to put on people, and how that might impact your season.
The question you just asked is a very important one when it comes to basketball, but I'm going to make a statement that's even more important when it comes to life. And the statement I'm going to make is everybody asks like why do you coach and what do you get out of coaching, and my response is Tammy Blackburn. I had the privilege of coaching her when she was in high school. Ever since she was in fourth grade, I actually watched her grow up, and I watched as she was growing, her spirit, her tenacity, watching her get a scholarship to San Diego State, watching her start there for 4 years, calling her a close friend in life right now. And the thing that I got to tell you about Tammy right now, and we'll talk about my team too, but the thing I want to tell you about Tammy is, she faced the battle of her life last year. And if anyone could get through it, it was her. And I just, we talked every day, and just to know what she was going through and how she faced it with courage and that she never gave up. And it was such an inspiration to me, and I know to our kids and to people around the conference. And I just, I know the fact that you all supported her so much really got her through that tough time. And it meant so much to her and everybody that was close to her. And so I just, again, want to thank you and thank you for all the great things that you've done, all the great things you've done for me ever since you were that little girl that walked in my gym in fourth grade and said, she came in and said, hey, I can play. And I said, wait a minute, you're about that big. And she, I think, hit a 3 and walked out the gym like, let's see you top that. So thank you. And I'm so proud to see you in the position that you're in right now interviewing me, and your teammate from that team being the head coach at the University of Washington. It's funny how life works out, but hey, we're all together again. So thank you, Tammy, and keep fighting. We're all going to be with you. Now, as far as the backcourt, we not since Amy McDaniel and Tammy Blackburn played together in high school have I seen a backcourt. I think we've got a great backcourt. These two, the thing is their energy. They're going to pressure you. They're going to start, the defense is going to start on the top with them, and it's going to energize the rest of the team. They're both great defensive players. They both take pride in their defense. They both work on their defense every day in practice. And then they're both pretty good offensive players. And their leadership, they lead by example. Not, they say, hey, they don't say work hard. They say, look at me, you work hard as me, or don't take the floor. And that's why I think they're great leaders. And that's what we've really emphasized. Lead by example. Lead by talking and motivating. But once the kids see you play, and that's why they're so important to the team. And off the floor, of course, two great, wonderful women who I'm very, very privileged to coach. And like you, someday will be very, very successful in life once they get away from basketball.
Kevin Dan at Pac-12.com. Two-part question here. Coach, what was that experience like just missing out on the NCAA tournament last year, being one of those final teams in consideration? And for the players, how much does that motivate you to get to the NCAA tournament this year?
you know, as far as missing out, we use that as motivation, but we don't use it as motivation like, oh, we got cheated, we should, you know, we're not victims. If we won one more game, we would be in there. So that's our responsibility, okay? We think we were one of the top 64 teams, but we're not motivated by saying we got cheated. We're motivated by saying we're not gonna give them an option next year. We are gonna have quality wins so they can't ignore us. So we're not gonna give them an opportunity to say, hey, these three teams in the Big Ten, which they weren't, we're better than you. You know, we're gonna go out there and we're gonna do it. These kids play with a chip on their shoulder, and they practice with a chip on their shoulder, and this is great motivation for us. And we're gonna take it out. I think our saying is to take it out of the committee's hands, and they're gonna have no choice but to have us be part of one of the 64 teams next year.
Yeah, just going off of what Coach said, we for sure put the chip on our shoulder. It's just, we were so close, you know, closing game in Stanford, closing game in Oregon. Like, just every day we look back at that film, we're just like, if we could have won that game, you know. But now all we can do is move forward and try our best next time to go harder next year, make the tournament, you know, prove everyone wrong, prove everybody why we should have been in those 64 teams. Yeah.
Aliyah, you want to address that?
Oh. I mean, everything that we do, our shortcomings add fuel to the fire. Whether it's just a mispossession, a misplay, I could probably go back every game and, you know, count the mistakes that I've made that I wish I could take back and do differently, and I'm pretty sure Minyon could as well. And that also adds fuel to the fire. But, you know, I'm not going to sit here and harp on us not making it. We're pretty dead at the end of the season anyways, but, you know, hopefully, well, not hopefully, we'll definitely be there this year. So, see you guys there.
Aliyah, Minyon, there was something about last year that was very special that we all celebrated, and that was the cultural change that we saw in your women's basketball program. And I'm hoping that you guys can talk about what was that change about, and how great was it to experience it with first-year head coach?
Well, it definitely started with our coaching staff, and like, people think that when we speak so highly, like this was practice. No, like, they're really just that great of a coaching staff. And like, just as a team, we didn't quite have that culture beforehand. So coming in, and we didn't adjust to the culture that he brought in. We created our own culture and foundation last season so that we can build upon that this season. And it's all a process. And actually, in our training, they said don't be cliche and say it's all a process. But it is. It's all a process. And I feel like throughout this process, we've definitely grown as young women on and off the court. And I think significantly that's because of Coach Trakh and our coaching staff. They provide a great balance, whether it's, you know, just him being handsome and or or just our coaching staff providing, you know, discipline and character, or whatever it is. They come with it every practice, every game, every day, and I can't say that. I can say we definitely appreciate them a lot for that.
Yeah, going off of what Aliyah said, Coach Trakh and his coaching staff came in here and really stressed culture. That was his number one concern. It was to get culture, because once we get our culture down, it will go and carry on to the court. And our incoming freshmen have came in and adopted that culture that we've made, and our coaches have instilled in us every single day. And that's the best thing and greatest thing that we could have asked for, is for our coaching staff to come in here and care about us, care about our culture, care about our well-being off and on the court. And so, yeah, we've all adopted it, and it's showing on the court. We're being more and more successful every single year. Yeah.
Mark, your second stint in this league at the same school, now that you've had 1 year under your belt, how has it changed from the time that you were there before?
Well, I think going from the Pac-10 to the Pac-12, and the Pac-12 is much more competitive. I mean, you had good programs at Oregon and Oregon State my first stint, but now you got Final Four programs at Oregon and Oregon State. So that's a big difference, you know. And you got a lot of great programs right now in you know, Cal, UCLA, Stanford. You don't get a night off, you know, Arizona State. So it's a very deep conference. It's a great conference to coach in. You know, they love playing in it. But I think the big difference is the depth of the conference and the quality of play and the quality of, you know, it's one of the top conferences, if not the top women's basketball conference in the country. And I think that's the big difference from my first stint and my second stint here.
Mark Joan Bavasini from Pac-12 Networks. This is to your players. I love watching you guys play. I love the intensity, okay? That you come after people like maybe one of the most feared teams to play. Absolutely. Right, in the conference. But you're going to be missing a presence inside that you've had previously. Who's going to make up for that presence? And you can answer that first.
Yes, Kristen Simon will for surely be missed. But we have a great post in Kayla Overbeck that transferred from Vanderbilt and will be available to play for us this season, got cleared by the NCAA and everything. So obviously her, and we had a couple injuries that now will be able to play in Asia Jones. Marguerite Effa has for sure stepped up to the plate. Our Jillian Archer, our freshman, will come in and bring a big presence in the inside. So yeah, we're really excited about them. I think that they will help us for the loss of Kristen Simon.
Just to piggyback off of what she said, just collectively as a whole, we didn't have the depth last year, and now we do. So, you know, we're not going to single-handedly put the pressure on one person to pick up the slack that we miss in Kristen. But we're all really, I mean, this is D1 basketball. We're all really good players. We just have to step up and showcase your talent, and that's about it.
Okay, and Mark, you know, you had a very good, I thought a good year. I know you guys were disappointed not getting the tournament, but part of that was you just talked about depth and some injuries toward the end. How many people do you expect to really play with your rotation?
At beginning of the year, 10, and then the roster, the substitution pattern, as you know, having coached successfully for so many years, it shrinks as you get closer. So 10 to begin with, but I don't want to go any lower than 8. You know, you're not playing 8 people equally, but you got to go to 8 just to keep everybody fresh. I think after that, the Pac-12 tournament last year, you know, we had 5 kids that played from 34 to 39 minutes a game, and we were shot, you know, and we don't want to do that again. I mean, they played, and the thing is, they played hard. They played hard all the time, and we don't want to be in that position again. We got to keep the kids fresh, and we got to peak at the right time. You can't do that if you're playing 5 kids all year.
It's funny how, you know, just as players, like, it's funny how as players we're like, oh man, you know, come on, coach, put me in a game, put me. I'm like, coach, please, I need a break. Please take me out. So it's kind of cool just seeing, like, now that we have depth, like, we get some time to breathe. I don't know how I'm going to feel. You know, I'm probably going to be super happy, and my body's going to be super happy to, you know, have that time to rest. But it was cool playing 38, especially from going and playing, like, 20. So 38 minutes were cool.
We were in a Pac-12 game last year, and we were down by 6, and I think there was 3 minutes to go. And so we didn't press because we don't have any depth. So I called for a press. I said, 22, you know, and she looks at me and she goes, no. And I said, yes, we're pressing. She goes, no, we're not. And I said, you better do what I say. We're pressing. And she like, oh, and then she said, oh, some cuss words and got to her spot. And then we stole the ball 3 times and wind up winning the game by 1. So she goes, I guess that was the right call after all.
Yeah, clearly he's a genius. So.
No, not quite.
Minyon, Ann from Pac-12 Networks, excited to hear how excited you are about playing with your sister.
For sure.
And when that decision was made, for her to come and join you, knowing that it was going to take a little bit of time to get that transfer, okayed. Help us understand how that's going and what it means to you and your family, et cetera, et cetera.
It's been awesome. Mariah and I have always had a dream to like be more sisters, like be on the biggest platform, like be the more sisters. And in high school, we had the opportunity. We had 2 years at Salesian High School in Richmond, but I tore both my ACLs back to back, and so that obviously hindered my ability to be able to play with her for the 2 years. So the world worked out in mysterious ways. She transferred here last year, sat out, was able to hone in on her academics to be able to get just be able to graduate with her undergraduate. She worked her butt off. Our family's super happy just because my mom doesn't have to travel all the way to Kentucky. She can just go to LA now. And just as a family, she brings a level of energy, a level of leadership. She's obviously been on the top level, Sweet 16 with Louisville, so she has that experience. And I think that we really need experience on this team because we are young now. So yeah, we're super excited. It's obviously a 3-point threat, offensive threat. She does great on defense, so I'm excited, and we obviously have history together. We grew up playing the backyard together. So we know each other's capabilities. We know what our tendencies are. So I should be really excited. Watch out for us.
Did you convince her? Did you convince her to? How the heck did this happen?
It's funny because actually, her junior year of high school, she went to USC on her unofficial visit, and I tagged along because we had a tournament out in LA. And so USC was actually her top 4, I think, coming out of high school. And she decided, obviously, to go to Louisville instead. But I was like, oh, my God, I love USC. And so growing up in my recruiting process, I was like, USC, because of her and her unofficial visit. And so it just happened to be that Cal and USC were her top 2 when transferring. And, of course, she's going to go with her little sister.
Coach Kevin Dana from Pac-12.com. Kind of following up, you've talked about Overbeck and Mariah, and they're kind of 2 of a larger set of sample of high-impact transfers coming in across the Pac-12. Now, I don't have the numbers to kind of support it, but it feels like there are more high-impact transfers this year in the conference as opposed to previous years. What would you kind of say to these transfers coming in and the roles they could have in the Pac-12 this year?
Well, I know actually we have 3 transfers. Cheyenne Wallace was LMU's leading scorer last year, and she'll be playing for us too. But they're gonna. I know those transfers are gonna make impacts for us, and I know we're talking about the sisters. We've got 2 sisters that are playing together, and then 2 sisters. When we play Cal, there'll be 2 sets of sisters. Desi Caldwell will be playing for us, and Rasay Caldwell will be playing for Cal. And Rasay was a high impact transfer from Texas Tech, and she's going to be really, really good for Cal. So I think the transfer. Destiny Slocum up. I mean, she's the real deal. Up there. So there's going to be some high impact transfers in this conference, and they're going to play well right away. I really believe that.